I'm Mark Burns, and today we're going inside the Grove with Timo Kipp. Timo is the principal of Whalou Properties and the investor behind Mayfair in the Grove. When he acquired the property in 2010, many saw it as a failed retail center, but Timo saw opportunity. In this episode, we talk about how Mayfair was reimagined, why the Grove continues to attract creative businesses, and what it takes to commit to a vision before it's obvious to everyone else. All that and more right now on Inside the Grove. All right, welcome to Inside the Grove today. Today we have Mr. Timo Kipp, principal of Whalou Properties, right? Did I pronounce that right?
That's correct.
All right,
yes.
I'm trying. Now, is that a German name?
It's a made-up name.
It's a made-up name comprised of?
Of WHA for Wales.
Okay.
And then LOU after my father.
Okay,
Ludwig.
wonderful. Throwing a little love to your dad. That's always great. Well, wonderful. Well, thank you so much for coming on the property. Timo is the owner. He's a world traveler, a global investor, and back in 2010, I think, a distressed property, Mayfair in the Grove. Right, you came in and you saw an opportunity. So tell us a little bit about what made you come down to Coconut Grove, where you're living here, or was this just you saw this as a burgeoning area that you wanted to get involved with?
Yes, I was living here, and I always loved Coconut Grove, even when I was much younger. I came, when I was 19 years old, I came first time to Coconut Grove, 51 now, so it's been a while. And so, Old News Cafe, walking in the Grove, it was always a very charming, artsy, wonderful, cozy place for me. And so since I was young, I came here and I was walking the streets of Coconut Grove.
Beautiful. And
yes.
Tell us about the investment into the property. Like, what made you, you just because of your experiences from when you were 51, you look younger than me, man. This is crazy. I got to talk to you after the show, but we'll do that later. So, just tell us like what went into it. I know you went to school and studied investment, real estate investment and things like that. So did you see something that nobody else saw? And obviously, the property's doing really well. So,
well, thank you. Yes, when in 2010, I actually had my first two office building investments were in Palm Beach, and I sold in 2007. I tried to redeploy the capital. I lived in Miami. I lived in Coconut Grove already, and so I was very aware of Coconut Grove and its key location, which I always thought was one of the main drivers for me to invest here heavily. And so in 2010, I reached out to Deutsche Bank at the time, and it was REO, real estate owned, and they told me, listen, we have Mayfair in the Grove, and give us a number that we feel comfortable with, and if we are comfortable, then we don't go to market, and we'll make a transaction happen, and that's when it happened.
Very cool.
Yes,
I always have tie-ins with my guests, so I used to manage London Square out in Kendall, which was owned by Deutsche Bank. It was the Reef was like the real estate portfolio advisors and everything like that. So a little Deutsche Bank partnership that we both have going on there. Very cool. And since you've done you had a big renovation over the last few years that's was just completed or coming to completed. I'm sure you have. There's always little minor imperfections to fix, but. The property's looking beautiful. Tell us how that process went. I'm sure it wasn't without heartache.
Well, thank you very much. Yes, it's been, we were, quite delayed, as most construction is in Miami. Mm-hmm. And so, it's been a big progress. It's been, yes, headaches as well. But to be honest, we feel that we are 98%. We're not even 100% finished yet. There's still as minor imperfections, but just still waiting for light fixtures, coming from all over the world.
Right.
And it's been quite a undertaking, yes.
It's beautiful. Yeah, no. Our new mayor, Eileen Higgins, right? She's made a promise to try to expedite that process. So hopefully, you may have missed the boat on that one, but hopefully your next endeavor here, if you have to do some renovations, that it'll be a little bit quicker. All right, I'm going to go to another segment here called "What's Your Take." So obviously, you said you came down here as a kid and things, and you've seen the maturation, right, of Coconut Grove and how it's gotten a little bit more developed, and it's gone through some changes over the years. So, I mean, what's your vibe on the new development that's coming into the Grove? Is it staying consistent with kind of what the Grove is, or is it going more to like a Brickell style? What do you see?
I don't think it is going a Brickell style. I think it still has its own unique character, and I think that the development that has taken place is taking that into consideration. I'm very proud of some developments that have just across the street, the related headquarters. It's a modern building. At the same time, it takes the nature of Coconut Grove into its architecture, and I think that a lot of developers here in the area they do consider and respect the local character of Coconut Grove. Us as well, we try to preserve the architecture at Mayfair, Kent Treaster, and so it's been an important fact to keep the character alive. Yes, I
agree. The developers here do a good job with that, and the people here in Coconut Grove make sure of it. I think they're very vocal and outspoken, especially when change is coming. They want to make sure it's the city has to evolve and it has to grow as demand comes in. People want to come and live here, and they need a place to go. But to keep it tame and not so overdeveloped, I think is what a lot of the people here are excited about, and they get up in arms about if they think things are going too big. So, no, it's very interesting to get your take on that. So here's an interesting question, right? And as an investor, how do you feel? I'm sure you have, the Mayfair. You probably had people saying, "Oh, I don't think this is the way to go. It's a distressed property. I don't think." When you get an idea and everybody's saying this is a great idea, does that give you a sort of trepidation, or does that just reinforce your belief that something is a good idea?
Well, when I took over the Mayfair, a lot of people had their doubts. There was a lot of skepticism. They said, "Who's the guy who took over the Mayfair? I mean, good luck to him," because half the tenants, they were just there to keep the lights on at the time, and so it's been yes, a journey. And so I think that to stay with your convictions is an important part of life. And if you truly believe that you have that vision where this, because of its location, it's going to be the right thing to do.
Well, speaking of your convictions, what's something that people might not know, right? That's at the Mayfair and the Grove that without your convictions and you sticking to it wouldn't be in there anymore. It would be gone by the wayside. But something that you kind of were adamant about keeping, whether it's an effect or a business or what, something that just because of your own intuitiveness and your stick to it, it's a part of the Mayfair. Anything come to mind on that?
Well, I think we try to welcome creative companies, and I think that's just something that is very unique to the Mayfair, and that is having creative companies, advertising firms. We have AI companies now moving into the Mayfair, and so it's interesting. The location again is key, and to have a place where companies feel comfortable. Brickell Avenue or Brickell, it's glass towers, it's the suits, right? It's here we have
It's intimidating.
It's intimidating. At the Mayfair, we were proud. At one point, we had over 50 dogs at full-time tenants in the building. So it's something that you don't see in Brickell.
No. Yeah, it's what makes the Grove unique for sure. It's a walkable city. People are always, you want to go get a bite to eat, you just go downstairs, walk around. Very cool. Now, I understand you still go around and you still walk your properties and really pay attention to detail. I mean, you don't normally see people of your an investor like yourself doing stuff, leave that more in the property management. But that's important to you, huh? Getting out and seeing the properties.
Yes, it's very important to me. I always show up spontaneously to my office. I always walk the property. I send them, let's be Good Friday as an example. I leave the garage and I see big puddles of water. I'm like, it didn't rain, so I send a photo to my management group and I say, hey, what's going on here? And so I stay, always on top of it. Yes.
Beautiful. Listen, as a former property manager, I applaud you in that. I would go down to other shopping centers and just, when that's your life and you're constantly looking at detail and all the little imperfections. When you go to a mall that's either really clean, right? You really notice it and how the attention to detail is, or the opposite, right? When you go to one that's like a hot mess, you're like, oh my God, like who's running this place? But I see, I always get amazed by Disney World when you go to Disney and these parks at how like immaculate these places are. It's you go there and if you're ever feeling like you need a pick me up, right, a status quo for your properties, just go to Disney if you haven't been in a while and go check it out because it's amazing. Last kind of thing, Grove wise, right? What opportunities do you see in the Grove coming up here in the future?
Well, I think, people have to keep supporting the change, keeping with the character of Coconut Grove. I think to support the change is welcoming more companies. Yes, there is a constraint, space is a constraint residentially as well as, commercially. And so, yes, we are at capacity. Even at the Mayfair, we are going to lease even for the basement. And so it's 100%. And I think that creating some spaces in a smart way, I think that local developers do here. I think that's the right way to go.
Beautiful, beautiful. All right, let's get our final segment here is the Grove 3, right? So the first question, cafecito or cocktails? What does Timo Kipp like?
I now tend more the cafecito because I just, once you get a little older, you become a little bit more health conscious.
Pick me up.
Yes, correct.
Very cool, very cool. And where's a spot in the Grove that you like to get your cafecito?
Well, right now I like it at Avo, which is, one of our tenants in the promenade, right there at the Mayfair.
Beautiful. Go check it out if you haven't seen Avo yet. It's a wonderful place. And my last question for you, Timo, today is describe the Grove in one word. Got to put you on the spot here.
I would say I'd call it a home. Yes.
I like that.
Yes. Yeah.
I like that. Beautiful. Enough said. Timo, thank you so much for joining us on Inside the Grove today. It was a pleasure to get to talk to you,
Thank
sir.
you. I appreciate it.
Welcome Inside the Grove, Minute with Monty. And it sure is nice to have you, Timo. We go back so far that it's so wonderful to be with you. But did you ever think, when you bought the Mayfair, that you would have the job of tearing the whole place down almost and then rebuilding it and doing such a great job? Well, where did all this come from?
Well, thank you very much. It's my honor to be here next to you and with you, and it's been an honor to have known you for such a long time as well. And thank you for the compliments. And where did it all come from? I think it's the motivation of making this property, the Mayfair, one of the last legacy properties in Coconut Grove, make a mark.
It happens to be the largest piece of property in the Grove. I mean, it's fantastic. And what you've done is wonderful. And I remember when we first started, you had a little restaurant across the street. And I loved it because you had such a great big burger.
Thank you. Yes, I do miss that food, but it was a difficult business. That's correct.
Oh,
Yes.
It was good.
Yes.
And it certainly is wonderful to have you here today.
Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Yes.